Hey there! So today I'm going to be doing a review for you on the Bare Minerals Matte Foundation by Bare Essentials. I got a sample from them as a result of picking up the Mary Claire magazine for the month of... I never understand this when magazines do it for the month ahead. So it was the April issue, even though it's the month of March. I wasn't that keen on the Mary Claire magazine, but I did like the fact that they had a page where you took it to your Bare Essentials store and you asked for a sample and a free brush. So I went into the store and they did a colour match for me. I was a little bit shocked at the colour shades that they had available. I mean, the lightest one, the one up from that, the fairly light, was really orange on me. Like, she did a colour swatch on my neck, which I was kind of shocked at, because if you think about it, where your neck comes out, it causes a shadow. So if you're doing swatches there, it's gonna just kind of look a lot different than on your face. It's gonna look more likely that it's matching your skin colour. So maybe that's a ploy. I don't know, but I don't understand why they would do that to you. But the fairly light was really dark on my skin, but the lighter shade which they have is fair. It looked like a colour match on here, but in real life it's actually just a little bit darker than my skin colour, and it does give a nice kind of, well, not nice, I can get away with it because it gives a tanned look. So in the summer it would probably be just about perfect. So yeah, the normal price of it is £23, but you can get it for £18.80 from feelunique.com. It's either .com or .co.uk, and that's including delivery, so that's really good pricing there. And yeah, so I'll just quickly talk about the brush. It's a bog standard kabuki brush. It's not mega soft, but it's not scratchy. It's really easy to apply the foundation, and yeah, it's just started shedding in the 2 weeks I've had this. It's a little mini one because it came with the sample. Yeah, oh, that was something. They did run out of my shade, which was fair. I don't know if that's because the colours are all really dark, but they run out of it completely, and it was really nice of them because they didn't have to, because the voucher was technically subject to availability. But they took one of the pots and poured in the box of Bare Minerals foundation, but they gave the matte one to me. Now, I'm not sure if they did that intentionally in suggesting that I have really oily skin, but yeah, I was a little bit disappointed because I did want the original ones, not the matte one, because I'd heard better things about the originals than the matte. But I thought, what the heck, I'll give it a go, and you never know, I might actually, well, not prefer it because I haven't tried the other one, but I might actually really like it. And so yeah, they gave me the matte version, so I was a little sceptical to start off with. But onto the actual foundation and what I think of it. So in terms of the texture, anyway, we won't do the texture. We're going to talk about the actual what type of foundation it is first. So we're going to talk about the fact that it's a powder foundation, which is a huge deal for me because I really normally hate powders. They don't normally work on my skin. They come up really powdery and flaky and just really cakey as well. Every word that ends in "-y", basically. And I was really, I mean, that was one of the reasons why I never actually went out and bought it, because I didn't want to spend 20 quid on something that I wasn't going to use. And I have to say I've been really, really impressed. It's not at all as cakey or flaky or powdery as I thought it was going to be. I wouldn't say it's 100% flawless, and I think the reason is because it was the matte version. It hasn't prevented me from considering buying the full-sized version. So yeah, it's kind of completely blown to pieces my fear of powders in terms of powder foundation. So yeah, onto textures now. The texture of it, it starts off quite dry on my face, and I think that is because it is the matte version. But then throughout the day, it kind of dewifies, I want to say. It just kind of starts to really sink into my skin and actually work with my skin really well to create a really nice kind of finish, a nice natural looking finish that isn't cakey or powdery and all those other words. And that's the kind of finish that I wanted to start off with, which is why I think if I try the Originals version, I'll prefer it a lot better. Yeah, so that's the texture of it. It goes from a dry into a kind of dewy finish for me, and the staying power on this thing is brilliant. Now, I hope that stays the same for the Originals one, because this is the matte one, so it is gonna technically last longer. So yeah, so that's the texture. Really loving that once it gets to the dewy kind of glowy stage. And on to how my skin has reacted to it over the last 2 weeks. So far, no major reactions, and I think that has got something to do with what BareMinerals kind of stands for. It is a mineral foundation, and they claim to be, I'm going to read this off because I can't remember all this off the top of my head. It claims to be free of preservatives, talcum powder, oil, waxes and fragrances and other chemicals that can irritate the skin and cause breakouts. So it's basically going to be more healthy for your skin than a lot of other products, which is a big deal for me because I used to have relatively bad skin. It probably could have been a lot worse, but it did get to me at some points, and at one point I realised I needed to cut down on the amount of foundation I was wearing and what types of foundation that were irritating my skin, and that led to me using tinted moisturiser. And so this, I mean, it hasn't so far broken me out, so, or caused major spots or anything abnormal to recent kind of skin regime. Sorry about that, my camera just kind of like died on me, it ran out of the battery. But I think I was talking about how my skin had been reacting to it, and I have to say I've been really impressed with this. It hasn't caused any major abnormalities to my skin. I haven't noticed an increase in breakouts, but it's only been 2 weeks, so I haven't really noticed any significant decrease, so I can't make a proper judgment on that basis. But so far so good. I am wearing it at the moment. I don't know if you can tell, I don't know if there's any difference in terms of whether it's picked up better on camera quality. I mean, my camera's not a brilliant camera anyway. But it doesn't feel heavy or kind of really obvious, but it's a nice kind of silky feel to touch and things like that. So it feels nice, and yeah, the coverage of it is pretty good. I'd have to say it's better than my Laura Mercier tinted moisturiser, which I finally got, yay! But I got that a while before this, and I'll do a review on that later. But it has better coverage than that because obviously it's a foundation, it's not a tinted moisturiser. It's got pretty good coverage. I'm pretty impressed by it. I was expecting less. That was another one of my kind of, I guess you could say, misconceptions of powder foundation. And it's not major heavy, so the coverage isn't gonna hide all your imperfections. I still use concealer, but that was actually something I was really impressed with, the fact that I could still use my MAC Studio Finish concealer and not have to worry about it coming up powdery and kind of layered up on top of my foundation. It worked really well and kind of complemented it, which was really nice. So yeah, overall I really like it for the 2 weeks that I've had it, which admittedly isn't probably long enough to make a real verdict, but so far so good, as I've already mentioned earlier. And the only thing is that I really want to try the Originals version. So I think next month, that is the month of April, I'm going to be buying the Originals version. and then hopefully towards the end of April, maybe the beginning of May, I'll give a proper review on what I think of that and whether I prefer it to the matte version and whether there have been any significant kind of improvements or disimprovements in terms of my skin over a long period of time. And yeah, I apologise for the kind of interruption with the whole camera breaking up. Well, not actually breaking up, but you know how it cut halfway through because it died on me. But yeah, I hope it's been of some use, and I'll see ya. Bye!